Yeah, thank you. I can see you guys coming up. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. So, today we shall be discussing about startup and mentorship. And I will appreciate your kind audience. I know I can see my colleagues from Unizik. They are here. I can see you guys coming up. Sorry for the late interruption. We have some issues with my network. So I'm going to start up with our conversation. The topic is startup and mentorship. As you guys know, mentorship is very, very priceless for any entrepreneur. A lot of people fail in business and in life because they fail to have the right network, the right mentor, and the right information. And so this webinar is structured to assist entrepreneurs on how they can really unleash their potentials, on how they can bring forth their business. Today in Africa and in the world, Africa is seen as a very, very high place for entrepreneurship. And that is why, and that is because we have a very, very big network of people in Africa. So during the course of this video, I'll be sharing with you many information that can help you to really succeed as an entrepreneur. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, what do I want to do? You see, a lot of people wake up in the morning and decide, I want to be a millionaire. But then they fail to understand that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a stop in the right direction. So you have to be specific on what you want to do. What kind of area of interest of business you want to go into? Do you like agriculture? Do you like the health sector? Do you like education? Are you big on empowerment? What is the value you want to create? So you have to ask yourself, what do I want to do? A lot of people just wake up to join a business without having a passion for that business, just because Mr. A or Mr. B is right there. But you have to know your niche. So when you figure out what you want to do, and then you have to ask yourself the next big question: who do I want to do it for? That is very, very, very important. And that takes us to the great research. Who is your client? What is your market? You have to know your market. Are you for youth empowerment? Are you for school? Are you for health? So you have to know who you want to do it for. And then when you figure out your clientele base, the next big question you have to ask yourself is pricing. As an entrepreneur, you don't have to undervalue yourself. You have to know your markets, know your value, know what you want. If you have a product, for example, I am an author, right? So whenever I go out there to market myself, people ask me, how much do we pay you for your service, for your book, or for your workshop? I don't just undervalue myself. I give them a specific price. Let me share something with you guys. So 2 months ago, right, I had an opportunity to work with some school principals in New York City. And then they asked me, what is my budget? Ordinarily, because this is my first time of going to that school, I was thinking of telling them $500 for an hour. But I said, no, I know my value. I don't want to undervalue myself. So I gave them a bill of $750 to $1,500. Guess what? It was widely accepted. And I was given that budget in the school calendar. So what am I saying? Pricing is very, very important. If anybody wants to buy your products, trust me, they will buy your products. It's just because we have fake products in this world. So you have to know what you want. You have to know the value of your product. If you're an MC, if you're a producer, if you're a teacher, whatever field of life you want, you have to know the pricing, because it is very, very important. So you have to know, one, what do you want to do? What kind of area of interest do you want? I will go into details down the line. Then you now know, who do you want to do it for? Who are your clientele base? Is it for empowerment? Is it for school? Is it for health? You have to know. And then you talk about the pricing, because pricing is what differentiates you from any other person. We have Gucci, we have Versace, we have DKNY. These are all designers. They don't undervalue themselves. They know what they want. So if you want a designer, you have to pay for it. Otherwise, there's a cheap label out there. Okay? So as an entrepreneur, what people don't understand again is they need training and empowerment. Training is very, very, very important. You just don't wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm an entrepreneur. We have 1,001 entrepreneurs all over the world. We have millions of people all over the world saying they're entrepreneurs. But if they lack the tools, they lack the training, they lack the enabling opportunity on how to can market their products. So we all understand that a lot of people have many problems, many challenges as an entrepreneur. And one of those great problems is access to fund. Yes, capital is a very, very critical issue when it comes to funding your business. But then if you have the right training, trust me, capital will not be a problem. You will know how to pitch your audience to your clients, to organizations, to private sectors, to public sectors. So it's very, very important that you know how to access this information. As an entrepreneur, you must have great network. Great network is priceless, because it's your network that will create this business for you. For me personally, most of my businesses has been able to see the light of the day because of my network. I have a very great supportive network, and that is why I get collaboration both from the private and public sector. So as an entrepreneur, being able to access networks will help you to reach out to government and then the public. Guess what? I have a good news for you. As a human being, you yourself, you are already a success. You yourself, you are already a success. Why do I say so? You have what I call human capital. You may ask me, what is human capital? Human capital is a knowledge or skill or experience that somebody has. You know, it's a value that you are giving out to people. So that's your human capital. So as an entrepreneur, you yourself, you are already resourceful. So you have to know what you have, which you want to give out to people. Because for you to make money in this life or to make an impact, you must create value. So your value comes up from your human capital. It comes up from the knowledge you have. It comes up from the information you have. It comes up from the skills you have. It comes up from the experience you have. So that is what gives value to people. So as an entrepreneur, your execution is very, very important. It's very, 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 very important. How do you execute your ideas? How do people see you and then come close to you? You have to know how to execute whatever you have in mind. So let's go to the needs of this conversation. Now, let us consider the factors that one needs to consider before one goes into this journey of entrepreneurship. One of the critical factors you have to put into consideration is your research. Research is very, very important. Any industry you want to go into, you have to research that organization. Because guess what? Research constitutes at least 40 to 70% of your success. You cannot underplay that part. You have to research. Trust me. Take your time. Research. Because the success of any entrepreneur lies in two main things: your research and your objective. When I talk about objective, it's all about what is the problem you want to solve. Are you going in there just to make money, or you want to go in there to solve a problem? People will not come to you unless you are solving a problem. So as an entrepreneur, look at the markets. What area is the market lacking? what is there and what you want to do. So when you do that, then you will not be able to empower yourself and empower people. But it's just that sometimes people just want to get going there and then, say I have a product. But what is your product offering the community? What is your product offering the people? Or you just want to say I am relevant? No. You have to first of all seek to know before you are known. So you have to consider yourself first before you consider other people. What product do you have? What business do you want to get into? Have you been able to do your research? It is very, very, very important. Once you seek to know, that is training, you've trained yourself, you've empowered your mind, you've done your research, you are seeking to know. So when you now know, then you will not seek to be known in the marketplace. That is what differentiates the ordinary man from the extraordinary man. The extraordinary man goes the extra mile to do their research. They've gotten information, they've gotten knowledge, they've trained themselves. So they have already known themselves. So now they want to be relevant in society. So that's why I said you have to know the industry you want to go into. Are you going into agriculture? Are you going into mining? Are you going into education? Are you going to healthcare? Are you going to agriculture or technology? You have to know. So do your research and know your industry. Or you're a businessman, you have to know your industry, know your clientele base. It's very, very important. So when you know that clientele base, then you know the challenges that is there. Because it is that challenge that will give you money. People will not give you money unless you're solving a problem. Nobody gives you money. No, nobody gives you money because you have to solve a problem before somebody will give you money. In fact, there is this saying that that the only way you will get money in this life is when you solve a problem. So it's either you're solving problem for the right people or you are creating a solution. If you are poor, it's just simply because you are not solving one problem. Two, you are not solving problem for the right people. Or three, you are solving problem but not for the right people. So you have to know where your audience lie. You have to know the industry you want to go into and then the problem and the challenges they are experiencing. So let me give you an example now. If you want to go into the let me say the health field, for example, the challenge can be, there is no database for doctors. Let me get the directory for the doctors. It's part of the research. So when you are doing your research, you have to know what I call a study. You have to have, I call it a study group. So what do I mean by study group? So if you've had the idea of business you want to do, the next stage you will do is probably you've done your research. When you've done your research, ask a few of your friends, mentors, or people who know you, and ask them, what do you think about this? How am I performing? Critique this my business. Critique this my idea. Show it to resourceful people. I don't mean dumb people. I mean smart, intelligent people. For example, now you want to go into healthcare. You have to ask doctors, what do you think? Go into research and development and see how they can really make it really, really happen. But it's quite unfortunate that a lot of times young entrepreneurs don't have this right information. That is why it says information is power. Information is priceless. If you're not informed, you are ill-informed. And once you are ill-informed, you can't perform because information leads to reformation and transformation. Entrepreneurs need to be mentored. They need to be guided. They need to have that right guidance, the right tools, the right information that can help them to really empower themselves. So have a study group in mind, and then this study group will now help you to do your research very, very well. So in doing that, there are three things you have to put into consideration when you are doing this study group. Just three people. This is the meat of this conversation now when it comes to your research. You have to meet professionals, know people who are in the business. You want to have an interest in education, then you will now go to somebody who is a doctor and says he or she is my mentor. So you have to have the study groups in mind. Okay, know these right people, know the professionals who are in that field, Know the professionals. Don't go to quack people. We have quack people everywhere. So once you have the right professionals, they will give you the right information. Don't be cheap. It all depends on what you want. Don't be cheap. Okay? So once you have this, then you now have to go to your business. Know where your business is heading to. Let me give you a typical example of what's happening right now in Nigeria. In Lagos State, for example, they've banned Okada. You know, this bike, they've banned it. So if you're an entrepreneur, you have to beat your game. You have to beat your game. So you have to know how to really get in there. So you have to beat your game by knowing where is the market going into. Where is the market? Where is the next line of opportunity coming from? That is what people don't understand as an entrepreneur. You can't just sit in your house and think, oh, there's a shutdown, there's a lockdown, everything is gone. No. You have to think, where is the next market coming into? So you have to improvise and think, oh, this is the next line of action. I have to do it this way, I have to do it that way. And then once you know where the business is going into, then you now think of how to solve that problem. How do you solve a problem? You create value. You create value. Let me say, for example, now, I'm going to give you an example of the law of multiplication. You may want to sell a hanger right now for hanging of the clothes. So if you tell yourself, I want to put hanger in 1 million houses in Nigeria or in America or in any part of the world. Once you have it at the back of your mind, just only one hanger. You can now imagine if 1 million people have that hanger in their house, 2 million people have it, 3 million people have it. It's called the law of multiplication. So that is how it works. You have to know the problems. So like I said, 3 things are important. 1, know your business. By knowing your business, you have to do the research by going to the professionals. 2, you have to know where the business is heading into. Right now in the world is going towards technology. So you have to be ahead of your game. And 3, look at the problems that you're coming in to solve. Then when you do that, then you talk about, giving yourself credibility. When you've done your research, credibility is very, very important. You have to register your company. When you do that, people want to come close to you. For me, I have had a lot of times people ask me, do you have a company? Do you have an NGO? I said, yes. My NGO is in process of being registered. I have a company. It's called Gemini, Global Empowerment and Mentoring Initiative Incorporation. What is my mission? Education, youth empowerment, helping the youth to discover themselves. So I'm very big on education. So you have to know what your business want to do before people will take you serious. If you have an interest in the health sector, you have to do that research and know the problem that is there. Okay, and in doing that, you must apply what I call start small but think big. So as an entrepreneur, you have to know how to approach this concerns that is really giving people a lot of challenges. And I've discovered that one of the major concerns entrepreneurs have is advertisements. You want to tell people you have a business. How do you go out there to put your product out there? So for you to do that, there are 2 ways. It's either you could do through flyers, which are called the traditional way. Flyers, posters, or probably your network or associations. So because these are the people that will really help you. Like I said earlier on, once you have study group, people will come close to you. People will come close to you and then they want to really join you. So if you have a business, your advertisement is very, 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 very important. For example, I use both the traditional way and the online way. So the traditional way basically talks about having flyers, posters, networks, group, church, and organizations. So you have to know, okay? So I know I'm having some questions. How do you charge for consultation? But that's okay. I've discussed that a little bit, but I will still go back to that same idea again. So let's continue. Then the online is very, very important for entrepreneurs. What entrepreneurs don't know is that they have everything they need to succeed. They have everything they need to succeed. We have the social media, you have your website, you have Google Ads, you have Skype, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have LinkedIn. These things are priceless. For me, I'm in my comfort of my house, but I still get gigs. I still get opportunities. Why? Because I use the online very, very well. I have a Facebook account. I have Twitter. I have Instagram. Right now, I'm on Instagram Live, but I'm quite unfortunate I can't go on Facebook because of I'm trying to work on my client base, which is on Instagram. So it's quite unfortunate that a lot of people don't have that information. So as an entrepreneur, you have to know what kind of audience you want to have. Where do your audience coming into? Are they on the traditional side or are they on the online side? So you have to put that into consideration. So like I was saying, for you to consider that idea of entrepreneurship, you have to know your business area very well. So if you are looking at the healthcare sector, you have to look about the directory or the database of all medical doctors in Nigeria, in Africa, or any part of the world. You have to know. If you are into farming, maybe the problem you want to solve is problem that relates to preservation. How do you preserve a product? If you might have an initiative, you might have an idea, how do I preserve a product? Because right now in Africa, like in Nigeria right now, preservation is a very big challenge. There's no lights. How do you preserve it? So you might come up with an initiative and says, oh, I have this XYZ idea. And then probably once you implement it. If you want to come into production, for example, let's take a case study of waste. How do you convert waste into manure or into fertilizers? That's for those who have interest in waste or in agriculture. So it is very, very important. You have to put these factors into consideration. If you're into manufacturing, how do you produce? What do you want to produce? It's very, very, very important. So you have to know the challenges that that sector is facing as an entrepreneur. And you can't do it alone because you need mentors. You need mentors that will guide you. Mentorship is priceless because once you have the right mentors with you, it will give you a stable mind. Mentors will create for you opportunities. Mentors will create for you training. Mentors will empower you because they will help you to do that let me say the research in a way. Because what people don't understand is mentors don't do the work. They don't do the work. You do the work. Trust me, you do the work. They are only there to facilitate the whole process for you. It's very, very, very important you have a mentor. Mentors are priceless. I'm going to discuss about mentors probably in the last few minutes of this conversation. So I'll be able to attend to your questions. Okay, so you have to understand your target audience. You have to understand your markets. You have to understand your industry. It's very important as an entrepreneur or as a business person. Who are your target audience? You see, if you are able to solve the problem of 1% of the population in the world, you're a billionaire. Trust me, if you can solve just one problem for 1% of the world, you are a billionaire. You might be asking me how. For example, if you have an online business, and you know that a particular group of people like this fashion lifestyle, you have this fashion thing you want to put out there, and then you know that this particular audience, it could be celebrities, it could be those in the rural areas, it could be those in the urban areas, it could be those in a particular entity. Once you know that audience, then you'll be able to produce. Location is very, very important. Right now in the world, we have this pandemic, COVID pandemic. People who are making so much money now are those who are producing ventilators, those who are producing masks, those who are producing the gowns, the clothes. They're making a lot of money. And then they're going to their audience. They know the countries that need this thing. China right now is making so much money. So you have to know your audience. You have to know your markets. You have to know your industry. It's very, very important. Entrepreneurship is not easy. Trust me, it's not easy. I have experienced it. I have there, and I'm still there. But I know what it takes to really succeed. Because for you to succeed as an entrepreneur, you have to be consistent. You have to trust the process. You have to believe in your products. Nobody will believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. Nobody will believe in you if you don't believe in your products. You are the people. People don't buy your products. People buy you. It is because of what they've seen in you that they are buying your products. So don't think that education, entrepreneur is something probably you wake up in the morning and then you think, oh, I got it together. I got it together. I have to now do XYZ. No, it's not going to work. Let me give you an example. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, when they first started, they only sold 30 bottles of Coke for the entire year. Coca-Cola, you can do the research. But guess what? They were still consistent. They were still consistent. And in due time, they were known. So do not think that the journey of entrepreneurship is easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. Technology has made it possible for many people to really succeed as an entrepreneur. So you will have to know what markets you want to go into, and then see you see what is really there, okay, and then see the problems or the challenges you want to really solve, okay. So I would like also to probably summarize the questions I have for you guys to really come on board. Okay, so for example, now I want to really give you a general information about this whole entrepreneurship based on all I've said. Okay, first of all,
The PT 103
you have
are for
to
those individuals who are registered with New York State.
know
Okay,
what
they're
you want to do.
registered for the PT 100. In other words, they cost to import diesel motor fuel into New York State. Okay, so they fill out the PT 100 and the PT 103
Oh, I
is.
see my colleague is online, so he has a question he wants to ask me. Okay, so what do I mean by that? You cannot generalize your contents. As an entrepreneur, you cannot generalize your contents. You have to be specific on one area. Consistency is the key as an entrepreneur. Just don't go everywhere. People want to know you for a particular thing. Once a name comes up, people want to know that this is who you are. So you don't have to generalize yourself. Okay, so you have to be specific on what you want as an entrepreneur. And then I said you have to define your audience. Your primary audience are the ones that will make a difference in your life. You have to be authentic. You have to speak the language of your audience. You have to speak the language of your target audience. You have to speak the language of your business. Authenticity is the key in entrepreneur. You have to be authentic, be vulnerable, be vulnerable, be vulnerable. Don't think, oh, is rosy out there. No, be vulnerable, be prone. Accept the fact that you can make mistakes. Accept the fact that it's not easy out there. You have to be vulnerable. You have to own it. Be authentic. People buy authenticity. That's what people buy. You be authentic, be consistent. You don't need everybody to come close to you. All you need is just one person. Know your niche. Know your audience. Know your market. You don't need the whole world. Just know that industry that is lacking. For me, for example, I'm very big on the youth. I'm very big on education. I'm not out there. Yes, I have a legal experience. I'm a lawyer. But this is an area of interest I want to go into. And that is why my organization, Leaders and Heroes Incorporated, is through this structure to empower the youth. Because I'm very big on leadership. Okay, I'm very big on leadership. So you have to know what you really need. Okay, so defining your audience, being vulnerable and consistent is priceless. Okay, so you have to have what I call value proposition statements. What does that mean? If you meet Bill Gates, for example, or you meet Dangote, the richest black man in the world, or you meet Barack Obama, or you meet President Trump, or anybody in the whole world, or Probably you meet your dream mentor, or if I see this man or this woman, I'm done. I'm made for life. And you are given an opportunity in 1 second, in 1 minute, in 2 minutes, say what you want to say. What will you say? So proposition statement is very, very important. You could say, oh, my name is Mr. Henry. I am the founder of XYZ. This is who I am. That's it. What do you want people to know you for? That is why I said value proposition statements. As an entrepreneur, you have to find a way to say, this is what I want to do in a minute. In 2 minutes, you can air your opinion, and then the whole world will know you. It's just like you want to appear on the TV, and then you ask a question to say something in a minute, or in 10 seconds. All you say is what people will take. So you have to know how to really go about this. Okay, so I have a question. Does this value proposition work for small business? Yes. Value proposition works for small. In fact, any business you want to go into, value proposition statement works for everything, because it helps to be specific. It just like you want to have a business plan. How will I put it now? Employers, for example, or what big organizations want to see is they want to see how valuable you are and what you stand for in life. So if you have a value proposition statement, it will help to define you very, very well. It helps to make you specific, like I said earlier on, what you want to do. So value proposition statement works for everybody. You can't undervalue that. That is like a signature to your business. That is what you stand for. That is what people know you for. So for example, now you talk about Bill Gates. When you talk about Bill Gates, what is Bill Gates known for? Microsoft. Talk about Mark Zuckerberg. What is it known for? Facebook. So that is what we call value proposition statements. If you are probably in entertainment, you might have something like, let me say, using music to change the world. Or if you are in fashion industry, you could say the beauty of life. So you just have to find a way to make it really work. Okay, so once you have that value proposition statement, you've done your research, you've probably set up your business. You want to do again, you have to know how you can protect your business. So if you have an invention, there's something we call patents. You have to have it together. You have to protect your business. It is very, 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 very important. So this is just the general idea of my analysis on entrepreneurship. Like I said earlier on, we all need mentors in this life to really succeed. Mentors are priceless. I've shared some ideas with you, on how we can really have audience, on how we can have mentors that can really help you to really succeed. So let's talk about mentors. Now we've discussed about business now. So let's talk about a mentor. Who is a mentor? A mentor is a person who is knowledgeable and experienced in a particular field or industry. A mentor is very, very important in the life of an entrepreneur. You cannot undervalue the value of a mentorship. A mentor can be described as a trusted advisor. Entrepreneurs need to know that they have to have a business in mind. So once you're an entrepreneur, you have to know people who are already in that business. Okay. I think I have one of my colleagues here. So she'll be asking me questions based on this my based on my analysis. So give me a minute, and then I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay. So okay, get me a minute to get, and then I can take a question. So your mentor are the ones that can really guide you. So any business in which you have, okay, you have to have a mentor that will guide you, and that mentor can be of different kind. I'm going to give you 5 examples of somebody you can think as a mentor. One, I call it position. A position mentor is probably because you are your authority. Maybe you are a supervisor in your job. So people will follow you because of that position you occupied. So you have to respect you. Probably you are the director. People will automatically follow you because of your position. Two, permission. Permission mentorship is like if you are in a relationship with somebody. Now, you've given that person permission to come close to you. So that person can know you a little bit. Production. What does that really mean? This is all about what you've done for an organization. So people will now look at you as a mentor because you have been able to distinguish yourself. Then we have people mentorship. People will come to you because of what you have done for them. And then we have pinnacle. This is a pinnacle, and this is where I want you guys to pay attention to. Pinnacle mentorship is people respect you for who you are. People respect you for who you are and what you represent. So, as an entrepreneur, you have to define your mission because you can't just meet a mentor and say, "Oh, I need." Please, she will answer a question. Let's give me a minute. I'm trying to summarize what I'm saying. Okay, you can't just say you want to be an entrepreneur without having a mission statement. No, you must know your vision, you must know your mission, and then you must know your objective. These are the things that will guide you in mentorship. Okay, so in a minute, I'm going to open the floor open for everyone. Okay, all right. So mentors are really, really priceless. All right. So I'm going to leave the floor open right now for some questions, and then I'll probably much summarize because I think we have a lot to say today. Okay. All right. So the floor is now open. Okay. So you can ask your questions. Hello, I'm hearing you.
Okay, how can someone, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, how can someone introduce his or her business within 2 minutes to someone that he or she is meeting for the first time?
All right. That is where I don't know if you listened earlier on when I was talking about value proposition statements. That is like a signature. So if you meet someone and then you're given an opportunity to speak 2 minutes, the first thing you want to do is say your name, who you are,
Okay,
and what you represent. So if you say, "My name is Mr. Henry Okazo, I am the I am the president or I'm the founder of Gemini Global Mentoring and Global Mentorship, Global Empowerment and Mentoring Initiative. This is what I do." So already you've channeled your thoughts to what you are doing. So
okay,
you could just start by informing the person of your name and what you represent, maybe your business or what you do and how I can help you because people want to know how you'll be of value to them. That's what people will not come to you if they don't see any value. So if you see somebody, you have to tell the person, "This is who I am." So that person will have an interest towards your question.
okay, okay, I got that. Can I ask another one?
Feel free, yeah.
Okay. Secondly, okay, how do you choose a mentor? Like someone being your mentor? Is it mostly based on what you do? Can it be what you do? Like if you are in a business, like if you are in this software business,
Right.
telecommunication business, for example, are you going to choose your mentor based on that, or can it be an outside, the periphery of whatever the person is?
Great. So I'm going to refer you to when this article finish, when we are done with this, okay? You can go online, Google "Mentors Are Lifesavers" by Henry Okazo,
Okay.
or I will send you the link. "Mentors Are
Okay.
Lifesavers" by Henry Okazo. So in that article, right, I wrote 5 things on how to choose a mentor. And I also did
Okay.
that explanation here. One is position, two is
Okay.
permission, three production, four people, and five pinnacle.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have to choose a mentor based on that area of specific interest that you have, which that person is working on. So if you have an interest, in the health sector, your mentor must be somebody in that same health sector who understands that field, somebody who has
Yeah.
expertise in that area. For me, I
Okay.
have a lot of mentors. People see me in the US, they said, Henry, you are very, very connected. You've met governors, you've met presidents, you've met people of thought. Okay, so because I know the right people to meet, so you have to know the right people before you decide who's going to be a mentor. So in choosing a mentor, choose a mentor that addresses that concern you have. You have to be specific in that area. Let me give you an example now. If you have an entertainment, let me say a fashion industry, for example, fashion. Okay, if you want to have a mentor, you can go to Gucci, Versace, or whatever, to those people who are in that industry. Don't go to any other
Yeah.
field. So you have to narrow it down. You have to be specific. That's my point. Don't say because you know Obama or Donald Trump, they're your mentor. You got no. They are not area. They're not experts in that area. You have to be specific.
Okay. 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 I think that's all for now. Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate.
Right. So yeah. So feel free to ask more questions. If anybody has any question again, that would be glad. So I'm watching my audience right now. So they can feel free
Okay,
to ask me questions.
the link you talked about, I hope you won't forget to send the link.
No, I'm not gonna forget to send the link. The link is always there.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
always there. I will send it definitely when I'm done with this. When I'm done with this, I'm gonna send it immediately.
Oh,
But like I said, it's out there. Okay, so feel free to really ask me any question you have. And my audience, I can see your questions. So okay, all right. So that's for you. Okay, so let me get someone again that will ask another question. Okay. Okay. So you guys can feel free to ask me any question. All right, so I'm still okay, let me take a question from Prince Chuba. Okay, let me take a question from Prince Chuba. Then I'll go to Daddy Coral and one other client again. Hello, are you there? I think we're having problem with the connection. I'm here, so feel free to answer your question. You could type your questions and I will be glad to answer them for you. Yeah, Prince Chuba, welcome on board. So I can hear you now, Prince Chuba. Please, can you answer your question? Prince Chuba, I can hear you. Please, can you answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much. You are doing.
Thank you for that kind words.
That's very nice. We are really going global, just as Lily Galaxy
Yeah,
said.
Lily Galaxy is a very big online business store, and Lily
Yes.
Galaxy is one of my mentors actually. Sometimes when we talk about business, people need to know that they have to do the right research.
Yeah, that is
So
true.
yeah, we're part of Lily Galaxy.
But quickly talking about mentorship, and now you have said Lily Galaxy is one of your mentors, and You see, for you to even acknowledge that, I may want to ask, your mentor can actually be your motivator. And again, just as the other
Yes,
lady
yeah,
asked, what are the surrounding factors in your choice of a mentor? What could be your one surrounding factors? Because I'm speaking from Nigeria. Down here, some persons would want to
right.
make a choice or choose somebody who is worthy. Maybe you're just you're into entrepreneur, but some persons want to get somebody who has made it in life. Does it necessarily mean you want to choose somebody who has made it in life, who is worthy, before you can regard the person as your mentor? You answered whether it's necessary for the person to be in the same line of business, which you have answered. But now, um, could it be someone who has made it ahead, or anyone can be your mentor? Because there are people I regard as my mentors when I look at them, the life they live. Because there are principles one may consider. The principle of sincerity,
True.
virtue. You can talk of virtue, virtue of sincerity. You can talk of diligence. You can talk of some other factors. You understand. So, and you come to discover that there are persons who have made it in life. Someone who might be lacking in some other aspect, and the other person who has not made it, though he's not weighed, he's not rich, he's not there yet, but he has the virtue of sincerity, he's diligent, and is all of that. But one thing could be he has never had that opportunity. Someone who has made it in life has. I want you to speak on that, your thought on that. Thank you very much.
All right. So I think I addressed that question with the earlier speaker, and again let me try and
Okay.
rephrase it again. Okay.
Well, thank you
For
so
you
much.
to have a mentor, five things are
Mm,
important. We have
okay.
five types of mentorship. We have the
Okay.
position mentorship, we have the permission mentorship, we have the production mentorship, we have people mentorship, and we have pinnacle mentorship. Now,
Okay.
and you can always read this through my articles. You can look up online, mentors are lifesavers. You will see the article out there. I will send it to you when I'm
Mm,
done with this.
mm,
So for you to have
okay.
a mentor, this is where people get it screwed up, because it's a little bit dicey and controversial. Because I have a friend, and again, a mentor like Reno Mokri. He says, for you to have a mentor, you must make sure that that person is rich
Mm,
or successful.
okay.
Because
Okay.
you can't have a hungry person as a mentor. Because if he's a mentor, he or she would have been
Mm,
successful. Okay. But I
mm,
personally don't agree
of
to
course.
that. Because for
Okay.
you to choose a mentor, you have to know what you are looking out for. You have to know
Mm-hmm.
what you are looking out for. It is very, very important.
Okay.
As an entrepreneur, in life, you have to be specific on what you
That's
really
right.
want to do. So if you want to see somebody as a mentor, you have to know the thing in you naturally,
Mm,
okay,
mm,
what you want to
mm,
develop internally, and that is what that
mm,
person has. That is all that is important in
mm,
life. What does this
mm,
person have that I want to get?
mm,
Even in business,
mm-hmm.
in academic, in
Mm-hmm.
anything, even in marriage, what does
Mm,
Mr. A or Mrs. B or Miss B has that I want to take into my life? So that is how you choose your mentor. You just don't choose your mentor because he's a president, he's a governor, he's red. No. People put a rank peg in a square hole. That's a problem right there. So you have to choose your mentor based on your needs, based on that expertise. I don't know if I answered your question. Hello, Prince Chuba. Okay. So yes, Prince Chuba was asking me. Yes, I see a great mission from Uzo to Treasure. He says, I associate with success and mentor people to be successful. Okay. Yeah, that is true. That's a fact. Once you associate with the right people, then you're good. Mentors are lifesavers. So more questions, and then I'm here to answer your questions. Okay, so let's say, okay, we have Modest. He has a question he would like to ask. You know, I know this has been an interesting conversation. A lot of people have joined. It's mind blowing. I can understand it. So, yeah. So we are waiting for Modest to come online. He wants to ask a question. Hello, Modest. Okay, let's take a case from Daddy Zikora. Let's ask him. He wants to really say something to us. Yeah, we have Daddy Zikora here, so he has a question for us.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, thank you, sir, for coming on board. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. So, I have a question here, and
Okay.
it's a question that was asked by somebody here, and I'm really interested in that question the person
Right.
asked. The person said that how can I source a mentor locally, like as a Nigerian, my area of expertise, let's say, is in dealing with goods like medical supplies online, and I need somebody who is into that line of business. How do I source that mentor? Are there areas where I could source mentors, people people who could inspire me, people who could guide me in my area of specialization in my business? Assuming I just started that business, I think you know what I'm talking about. Like, I
Right.
want to go into medical supplies,
Right. Yes.
and I need somebody to guide me, somebody to inspire me, because I know somebody who has been in that business as an expert can actually guide me and show me things I need to know about the business. So I need a mentor in that area, and I need a mentor. How can I source a mentor locally?
Right. I think I did briefly touch on that during my during my when I was speaking about how to locate a mentor. Now that goes hand in hand with research. Research. Like I said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a stop in the right direction. So if you want to go into any field of life, you have to go to where the business is located. So, for example, you mentioned about having interest in supplies, in medical supplies. Okay, so you cannot just sit in your comfort of your home and then think you can go online. Yes, you can go online. That helps. That is by the online version of research. But then in this case, I would suggest you go to the traditional way. So you go to where they manufacture those products. For example, yeah, for medical supplies, you go to any factory. You can go online, do your research. Once you see it, you call them on the phone. If they're within your locality, then you go there and visit them. Say you want to speak to anybody on there. It could be the gate man, it could be anybody. And then you say them, I have an interest in this area. Okay, who are the people that produce these things? Who do you supply it to? In Nigeria, in Ghana, in Cote d'Ivoire, in France? Then this is part of that research. Then they will not give you recommendations, give you names, give you websites. You go there, once you study that website, study the names, then you now show interest in it. When you do that, then you come back on your own again and do the step two process, which is I tell people you have to be involved. You know, you go for internship, you tell them, oh, I see you are doing this. Is there any way I can help you? You go and intern for them. You go and help them do some supply chain. You tell them, okay, I can talk to people on the street. I could share flyers. Get involved. I tell people, if you have a mentor, go online on Facebook or social media, follow them, share their work. They say it. Trust me, they see when you share their work, you support their business. They will now show interest in you. Let me share something that happened to me on Saturday. I was surprised. Somebody compiled nothing less than 25 or 30 quotes of mine for the past 2 years. I've been writing articles. How this guy got my number was what I couldn't know. He says, when my article was published last week, he saw my number on there. That's when he went to WhatsApp and he sent me 20 quotes. This young man, I couldn't believe my eyes. And I had that interest in him. So people want to know that you are involved in what they are doing. Because we have a very big market out there. So when you're able to limit your interest to a specific areas, people want to identify with you. If you can solve a problem of 1% in the whole world, you're a millionaire. So you don't have to, excuse me. So you don't have to wait for the whole world to come on board. No, go there and solve that particular problem for that particular people that need it. So if you go to that company that needs that information, for example, tell them you want to work for them for free, whatever. When you go there work for free, you get knowledge, you get information. That's part of your research. You ask questions. So locally it's important, but you have to get that part of that research first, and then you cannot bid on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, anybody has more questions? I'll be glad to answer more questions. Please, you can feel free to type your questions, and I'll be glad to really answer them. I see Linda, you're here. So yeah, I know we have been speaking a lot. So it's time for me to take questions from my audience. And then for the young ones in Nigeria, those in Unizik, I've been trying to get hold of your questions. You don't have to be hard on yourself. You don't have to be hard on yourself once you want to be an entrepreneur. Right now in Nigeria, there is no job. But like I said, what should be your paramount concern right now is acquiring knowledge, acquiring information. Okay? Okay, I see your question right now. Can a student with ideas find mentors who will believe in his ideas rather than my ideas? Can a student with ideas find mentors who will believe in his ideas rather than my business? Well, that's a little bit interesting. What I strongly believe is once you have conviction of what you are doing in life, that sets you apart. So if you're a student and you have ideas, if I'm getting you correctly, it says, can a student with ideas find mentors who believe in his ideas rather than my business? So this question is two-way. Okay, if you're a student and you have ideas, okay, and you have somebody that believes in your idea, that is on one hand good. And then that is theoretically. And then practically again, if you're a student and you have somebody who has done that business, okay, and your question is, should that student believe in your business? That's another interesting question again that one we have to put into consideration. Okay, so what I will say is this: it depends on what you want to get into. But first of all, it's good to have the right information. It's good to have the right information first. So once you have that right information, then you're now going into practical. The practical one is the business. Theoretical is the best. Practical seals everything. Okay? But then I believe so much in hard skills. Hard skills is that theoretical information that will give you the framework. I have logged in. My time went off. Yeah, I'm not going to log in. Yeah. Sorry guys, my time went off, so yeah, I had to log in again. Okay, so I am sorry for that. I think Instagram has a way of making it 1 hour and then everything is over. So Mr. Ugo has a question, okay, and I'm trying to address that question, Mr. Ugo. Two things is important. I will encourage you to have theoretical knowledge first. That is hard skills. Once you have that theoretical knowledge, then you will now go into the practical knowledge. However, you have to be mindful of what you really want to do. You have to be mindful of what you really want to do. Okay? Okay? So I would suggest you go with that theoretical knowledge first. Then you're now going into that practical form of business. The practical form of business goes with the theoretical form of business. So I don't know if I answered your questions. If not, feel free to reword it again. Practical and theory go together. So if you have somebody that has theory and you have somebody that have practical, go with practical generally. But however, having the theory at the back of your mind will help you. So Mr. Emeka, great. So I have you on board again. So what's the question, sir? Hello? Hello? Do you have any question? Oh, I think we have some poor connections. I can't hear you, sir. Do you have any question, Mr. Emeka? Mr. Question so that we can hear you. Yes, okay, now I understand you. A mentor can believe in your ideas. Innovation is what drives the world. Innovation is what drives the world. So if you have a mentor that believes in your ideas, that believes in your initiative, they can truly buy into your ideas. But unlike some people are already fixated in their mind that they don't think of somebody has a better option or a better information to offer. So that is what I think about it. So a mentor can believe in your ideas because once you have innovation, once you have ideas, that is all that is important in life. So a mentor can truly believe in your ideas. So that's my thought towards it, towards your question. I don't know if I answered you correctly. So we have another question again coming up from Emeka. I think Emeka wants to answer us a question. So I can hear you, Emeka. Emeka, can you speak up, please, so that we can hear you? All right. So yes. So we still have some time. This is like the Q&A session. So feel free to answer your questions. So I'm here to answer your questions, okay? Anybody has any question? So I hope my questions and the conversation was well accepted. Feel free, guys, to ask me questions. This is our time for Q&A session. I know people have been asking me so many questions. Well, I have a question. Is it always necessary to reach out to people you consider mentors or learn from their journey from afar? Okay, let me treat that question from so Ijom, Linda, what I think is this, okay, it is always good to learn through the journey of mentors. Just don't work in your own mindset thinking I have arrived. No, it's just like a biography, okay, a biography. You have to read about people. If you decide you want to read from afar, that is good. But if you have an opportunity to really know them very, very, very well, that's one of the best ways you can use to really achieve what you want. So even though it's good to read it from afar, but if you have that opportunity of having one-on-one with them, that is priceless. Okay, so you can always read through them, and you can at the same time again relate with them if you have the opportunity. But the best, I think, would be having that one-on-one, because if someone is honest enough, remember when I talked about authenticity, that mentor, if that mentor is vulnerable, he or she will tell you, okay, he or she will tell you, this is what I think it is. You know, but some people hide their failures, they hide their setbacks, but that is not the aim of mentorship. You have to be vulnerable. You have to tell people, this is what I experienced, this is what I went through. You know, what people write is just theory, but practical is what makes the difference. So I'm a big fan of reading and hearing from them. So if you can't access them, then you can now read from them, as opposed to learning from afar. Right now, many people read about me online, but then they don't have the opportunity of having this interaction only when they speak to me. So what I put out there, it is good, but when I start to apply it, it's different. That is why people say appearance is not reality. So you have to be knowledgeable on it. So I have a question from Lily Galaxy. How do you get clientele base all over the world? Well, that is one of the challenges business people face every day, entrepreneurs, organizations, leaders. So getting clientele base all over the world entails two things. I don't know if you paid attention to when I was speaking about traditional way of advertisement and the online. The traditional way of advertisement is having flyers, posters, joining networks, you know, family, friends. That is just the traditional way. That has been what has been there from the beginning to date. Okay? And so the online method is having social media, websites, Google Ads, and stuff like that. But what I think is important among these two is this: having a good product. Lillian, I don't know if you're hearing me. Having a good product. Getting clients all over the world can be hard, but once you have a good product, trust me, clients will locate you. Clients will locate you once you have a good product. Coca-Cola, for example, they don't market themselves because why? They're already established. All over the world, people know them. Once you have a good product, do a little bit of marketing, and then you're good to go. All right?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know if I answered your question, Lily Galaxy. Okay. So okay, I think we have one again by Modest eBay. Okay. So you have to know your products. Like I said, you have to know your markets. You have to know your audience. They are very, very important in your business. Without your audience and your market, it might be hard to really make a headway in business. And don't forget that you must have a good network. You know, once you have a good product, your network are the people that will really recommend you. So just have a good product. That's all I can say. Have a good product and people will recommend you. Me, for example, when I wrote my first book, I went online, did my social media advertising and stuff like that. But when people read the book, they went online and did the whole marketing for me. I have so many reviews online about my book. So that is what it is. So I have a question from Kuti12 says, how do you manage being consistent, especially online, with a busy schedule? Kuti, this is what people go through. For me, I am a prolific writer. I write every week and I write under strenuous circumstances. You might not believe it. You might not believe it. So, being consistent is what makes the difference. Being consistent is what makes the difference. So if you have a busy schedule, what you can do that can really help your business is you have to find out that downtime. That time you used to unwind. That is when you can now put yourself out there, and you can do it two ways. As an entrepreneur, you have to be ahead of your game. And how can you be ahead of your game? When people are sleeping 8 hours, you can decide to sleep 7 hours or 6 hours. That is one. Two, you can apply it by sacrifice. If you have a business or you have an idea and then you want to put yourself out there, you have to sacrifice one event or the other to put yourself out there. So being consistent is priceless. I have a quote. Inconsistency is not consistent with the lifestyle of great men. Let me repeat. Inconsistent is inconsistent with the lifestyle of great men. So great men are always consistent. It doesn't matter what comes up, they're consistent. Tomorrow, I'll have an article out there. I have my stable job, I have my business, but because I have that passion for writing and for empowering people, I have to put myself out there. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, everybody's busy, but you will choose time for whatever you want to do. So that is my thought on that. Okay. So I hope I was able to answer your question. You have to be consistent in whatever you are doing. It doesn't matter. Be consistent. People are watching. In fact, one of my friends who is a senator, he said, people see people who participate. Very deep. People see people who participate. You might think people are not watching. People are watching. People are watching online. People are watching. It doesn't matter. You might think you have no traction. Trust me. The day something will happen, it's going to go viral. That is when you know people are really watching. So be consistent in your business. It can be hard. It can be challenging, but don't give up. All you need is just 1 year, and then you will break the ice. Okay. So I'm seeing your questions and I'm answering them. So feel free to make it happen. This is just what we have to do to see how we can help people. So we are here to answer your questions or any question you may have. So feel free. Oh, so I have another question. What is your advice for student startup? So I don't know if you heard what I said about research and information. That was the first thing I started with. That was the first thing I started with when I started the video. So for a student who wants to start up a business, the first thing you have to know and you have to do is you have to take a deep breath. Just relax. Look at the whole world and ask yourself, what is that thing I want to do? Which area do I want to go into? You don't want to jump into any area. That's a critical question. If it means you taking 1 day, 1 month, or a year to answer that question, fine, but give yourself some time to know the area of interest you want to go into. Once you decide, I want to go into technology, healthcare, empowerment, leadership, education, agriculture, technology, once you get that area, then you now start your research. Your research is the defining factor of your business, because once you're able to do your research, you will now know the challenges people are going through. I don't believe an entrepreneur should be poor. If you are poor as an entrepreneur, it's just because you did not do your research very, very well. But once you do your research very, very well, you will know the challenges that that sector is facing. So as a student, you have to know, what is that area I want to go into? Who do I want to do it for? And what is the price or the value you want to bring in? So it is very, very important. Okay, I have another question again. I am not really business inclined, but I try to do small business here in the US. But as a wife and a mother, what idea do you have to help balance work and life in a competitive market? Oh, I can understand that concern. I can understand that concern. What factors do you consider when planning for the future? So, balancing work life, this is what people go through every day. Personally, for me, I experience everything. But see what I do here. When I'm at work, I'm at work. When I'm at home, I'm home. I don't mix work and home together. Home is home. Right now, I'm home, so I'm good. If I'm at work, I'm at work. So you have to have it at the back of your mind. Okay, what is my vision for life? What is my take in life? So, Anastasia, my answer to you will be this. What do you value more? Do you value work or do you value family? If you value family, then give more attention to your family. If you value work, give more attention to your work, because family does not hold much preference for you. But to balance family and work, we entail you to prioritize yourself, because you have to pay the bills and you also have a family. So you could split your time 50-50, 40-40, 60-40, depending on what works for you. But you don't have to be hard on yourself. You don't have to over-label yourself. You just have to take it one step at a time. Okay? So that is my own answer, my own thoughts towards that. Okay? So, yeah, so that is what it is. That is what I think. So we're here to answer more questions. Thank you. I'm glad I was able to answer your question. So I'm here to answer more questions, okay? So that we can make it happen. Let me take one question from Lily Galaxy. I want to be a writer, but I'm an introvert and usually get bored easily. How would you advise me? Okay, Lily Galaxy, before we take your question, I have a question from somebody who says, she wants to be a writer and she's an introvert. Well, I understand that, okay? But one way you can be a writer is just being vulnerable. Okay, you have to know the area of life you want to really write about. For me, I write. So my areas of expertise is about empowerment, okay, on career and business oriented. So you have to know that area, okay? All right. So you have to know the area you want to do and not just any area. All right. So if you're an introvert, okay, it depends on what you mean by introvert. I know introverts are like relaxed people. They don't go out. They're always by themselves. I get that part, okay. But then you have to be vulnerable. Don't have to be hard on yourself. Be vulnerable, okay. So in that way, I think you can have a good outing. So let me know if you have any more question. So this is our downtime now, okay? So anybody has a question, feel free to ask your question. Yeah, I hope this questions session was a very good one. We will continue to do more. So I hope you guys were able to appreciate the role of mentors as regards as it relates to entrepreneurs, because it's very, very, very important. Entrepreneurs need to be properly guided because information is power. Any other questions coming up? So let us see how we can do. So yes, yeah, I have a question from Modest Ebe. Your question is mentors are lifesaver. Could you elaborate on that? Okay. All right. So Modest, let me answer your question before I go to Hugo Gabriel. You asked the question: is it advisable to mix business and study? I will get back to you in a minute. So, Modest, yes, my article on mentors are lifesaver. The summary of that article means is that we all need mentors in life. We all need mentors to guide us in whatever we are doing in life. Mentors are people that can really guide us, especially people who have gone through that area of life we want to go into. And in that article, I wrote 5 types of mentors. You have to choose the kind of mentor you want and the kind of value you want them to create in your life. So that is that for that. So I don't know if I answered your questions. You have to know the mentor you want and then know how they can affect you. So Hugo Gabriel, you asked the question, is it advisable to mix business and study? Well, it depends on the area you are coming from. You know, if you are a student, probably a young student in college, and then you have a very good ground academically, you can mix business and study, provided that your education line is not being hampered or it's not being hindered. You can. One. Two, if you know that your academical ground is not strong enough, then don't mix it, especially if you are still a student, probably in college. Okay? But if you're advanced, you could mix college you can mix business and study. So you have to know what is it that you want to do. Okay, but for me, I personally mix business and study because I believe I can balance the two: work, life, and family. I can balance everything together. But as a student, probably you are 19, 20, 21, 18, 17, you want to focus attention on your book, you know. But in this part of the world where I am right now, in New York, for example, or in advanced countries, we've seen people like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, a lot of people who never went to college, but then they were able to succeed. Someone like Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college to go into business because he has ideas, he has initiative. Okay, so he was able to define himself. So one need to define oneself. Mixing business and study is extraordinary. If you can do it, perfect. So, but if you can't mix the two, you have to select yourself. When you're done with the academic part of it, then you can gradually transition into business. And then when you are stable enough mentally, then you can now see how you can match the two. So balancing is the key. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to say, and I'm glad you appreciate that aspect. When I was in college in Nigeria, I never did business. I did only, let me say, like 10%. But right now, I'm focusing 50-50. Okay, so that is what I think it is. So you have to balance everything. So I will take one more question and then I will call it a day. Okay, we'll have more time to really elaborate on this. You guys will feel free to ask me any question, send me any question you need, and then maybe next time we can speak on it. Okay, so I just need one more question and then we'll be done for the day. And then hopefully next time we will continue again. So I'm waiting for one more question and then it's gonna be a day. Okay, I have one from Radiant Skincare. I have heard people said that you can't do many things at the same time. Definitely, one must be suffering. What is your take on that? Well, I think it's a straightforward question. You know, people do so many things at the same time. Trust me. Some people multitask. Yes, some people multitask. For the fact that Mr. A cannot multitask or cannot do what Mr. B is doing, it does not mean that people cannot do the same thing. People cannot do many things at the same time. People do. But like I said, you have to know yourself. Self-discovery is very, very important. You can succeed if people tell you you cannot succeed. And you can fail if people tell you you can succeed because you have to know yourself. Let me tell you, if the whole world is telling you you can do it, I know you cannot do it, you will fail. If the whole world is telling you you cannot do it, I know you can do it, you will succeed because he that's in you is greater and stronger than he that's in the world. So you have to know yourself very, very, very well. So multitasking can be done. For me, I multitask, but I know the stage I am. I know the stage I will get to, and I will not get burned out. So if you cannot multitask, don't multitask. You have to know yourself. Know your body strengths. Know your body strengths. So you have to know yourself. Some people run 3, 4, 5 businesses and they're good. Some run one and they're okay. So you have to know yourself. Self-discovery is priceless. So that's what you can do. Okay? So that being said, I want to thank you all for coming on board. I appreciate your questions, your thoughts, and everything. Feel free to send me more questions, and then we will surely come back next time. This will be a continuous session every week